Well, Halloween finally ended. No, I don't mean the real Halloween. I mean the new Halloween franchise that came out. That's when I was talking. But okay, yeah, Halloween. I know that. I think I talked to you. What was it, a year ago about Halloween Kills, and I think I already told you that I'm not exactly a big fan of it. I just knowledgeable about it. I did see Halloween 1, Halloween 2, and Halloween 3, and I kind of skipped the sequels, except that I saw only one, the Rob Zombie movie, and then I could say that this is the only Halloween movie that I kind of finished, I'll say. The Halloween that came out a few years ago, then Halloween Kills. And to recap, I will say that I like the first one. I like it fine. Although not exactly kind of like the big saying that, hey, I'm the biggest fan. Halloween Kills, to recap, I think I gave it kind of like a popcorn flick that you should kind of watch it. And honestly, the more I go back and think about what I said about Halloween Kills, the more my respect to this movie began to waver down because, I began to realize some mistakes here and there, and I kind of realized that the community of Hatterfield wasn't likable. But I do remember that I was totally mesmerized of how much of a beating Michael Myers had. So much that you could even throw a nuclear bomb onto him and he wouldn't even die. This is technically kind of like both something that either makes people Jesus, what is going on up there? And it just no, don't worry. It's not Michael Myers trying to invade my house. It's just apparently they're making some fixes upstairs in the apartment. But okay, like I was saying, I was saying that having a very tanky Michael Myers kind of detracts you from thinking that he might not be human. He might be just kind of like some kind of like always people wanted to say that he's like the embodiment of evil, but come on, you're basically kind of pushing your expectations on. Or you're pushing your believability that he's kind of like a very really really big strong man with that he may be like an undead like Jason Voorhees. So honestly, the more I begin to think about Halloween Kills, the less I'm beginning to like it. But either way, I was still a little bit open-minded, but at the same time hesitant to watch Halloween Ends, mostly because maybe those feelings was one of those reasons, and how you're gonna make a franchise to end it here and there. Well, they pull out a quasi Halloween 3 on this one, in which it promotes that it's gonna be the final battle between Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, and it is kinda. Oh, you'll get to it. But let me tell you this. This movie's gonna divide a lot of people. Actually, it's dividing a lot. Some people appreciate it as it is. But honestly, I was trying to, watch it kind of like in a perspective of someone who is a little bit knowledgeable about the Halloween movies, considering also the factor from the last movie. And at the end, I came up really, really disliking this movie. I didn't like it, to be honest. And this was a really weak sauce of a movie in which it has its props, but the execution of the movie and some of the aspects of this, I found this movie even more mean-spirited than the last movie, in which the last movie they wanted to hammer down, the message that Michael Myers is out killing people, and this kind of causes a mass hysteria, mass panic, because there's kind of like a guy who is almost unkillable. But I'll at least to give it credit to Halloween Kills, it kind of had a catchy catchphrase. We'll never forget someone saying, "Evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight." Now the neighbors are talking. Luckily, they can't hear me out from here. But this one, I think it is kind of forgettable as a Halloween movie. It's only kind of memorable because, believe it or not, this movie could easily be another movie entirely. You could keep the Halloween movie, and the Halloween title. You could keep that title, and then you could have your own Season of the Witch. But unfortunately, they had to shoehorn in this other story that, in my opinion, I found it mean-spirited. But I find it mean-spirited considering that it comes from the Halloween franchise. But if it was another universe, I could buy kind of that this was a mean-spirited universe. So here goes, because the movie, unlike the first two movies, it doesn't take place in the same night. No, this movie takes place 4 years after Halloween Kills, in which Michael Myers apparently after being beaten, shot, slashed by an angry mob, he survived and managed to kill Laurie's daughter. So 4 years have passed, and we get kind of like this backstory in which there is this guy named Corey. He's played by Rohan Campbell, in which he accidentally kills off a little kid in an accident, and then became a pariah of the town because they say that, hey, he got out because he killed that kid in cold blood or something like that, when it was clearly an accident, of course. So everyone brands him like he's kind of like a killer, or a killer to be, and well, he lives also in Haddonfield. He actually becomes he becomes acquaintance and then the lover of Laurie's granddaughter, Allison. But of course, when I mean that, the story kind of becomes a little bit on him, becoming a bully target to a lot of people in town, and him descending into deep darkness, and then of course he by coincidence meets Michael Myers, and he just wants to learn the craft to take revenge on the town that shunned him. So he kind of becomes it's almost like they wanted to pass the torch on him becoming the next boogeyman. Because, like the movie says, evil is contagious. Yeah, we know it from the first movie, and all these things. So yeah, this is the main story. What about the Laurie Strode thing? Oh yeah, they're trying to move over after the incident for the last movie. After 4 years, Laurie is writing her autobiography on the computer, and then she kind of doesn't approve her granddaughter hanging out with the Corey guy because, well, apparently she sees him that he is also evil or something like that. This honestly, I'll go on a tangent by saying that the acting is not exactly bad. The acting is pretty good. At least I will leave it like that. And you know that Jamie Lee Curtis is a good actress, and she does her best to playing this character, and she does it. She actually has her chops. I mean, I've seen her, on Everything Everywhere All at Once, and she did also a great job on that movie. but I'm not exactly kind of fond of how they write the characters. And honestly, most of the characters in, how can I say, that comes out in the Michael Myers saga, it kind of feels up a little bit like filler. You could even make this movie a little bit like an anthology. An anthology that, for example, you get this separate story, and somehow he crosses paths with the Michael Myers story, and but doesn't blend. But doesn't blend. It just kind of like just pass along. That would have been perfect, at least in my opinion, if you wanted to pull out a Season of the Witch, in which the Season of the Witch has nothing to do with Michael Myers. The only thing you'll get close to that is kind of like an advertisement to the original Halloween movie. But this one, I don't know. The more I kind of a little bit on the balance, but still I'm leaning to that. I'm not particularly very fond of the movie. Let's go a little bit with, you know what? I'm gonna jump a little bit. Of course, cinematography. Yeah, it is well done. It's well done in the cinematography. It has kind of the elements from the Halloween movie. You get the music tones. There are a couple of dumb jump scares, that even a really, really dumb one that didn't need it to be there, but it did. And there are kills. A few of them are memorable. I can remember they being memorable in one of those. And this thing, I'm gonna let it all out because thematically, this is something that I just want to gonna talk about it, because for me, this is probably one of the most mean-spirited Halloween movies I have seen, and I mean the franchise, not about being thematically Halloween. Mostly because they wanted to portray this Corey character, kind of like the next guy who's gonna pass the torch of being Michael Myers. But the biggest difference is that the Corey guy, believe it or not, I feel more sympathy to this character than Michael Myers, because Michael Myers, he is supposed to be like many people say, the embodiment of evil. He just, because he killed off his sister and in cold blood. It has kind of like no reason to kill. It wasn't kind of like, well, if you want to go into Rob Zombie territory, in Rob Zombie territory, okay, yeah, he had a shitty family, he was bullied, and that kind of pushed him to the brink. That's kind of like the typical excuse of how to make a serial killer, and that's what they did to this one. And yeah, the guy, he doesn't kind of have kind of like the best attitude, but still, how can you blame him? The poor guy. The poor guy has been blamed for being a killer when what he did was a total accident, because this shit kid just was pranking him very heavily, and the kid kind of just dies in a ironically funny way, I'll say. And they just see him, and it was like, no, it was an accident. No, you're a murderer. You're a child murderer. You're a pedophile. And of course, he went to prison, and he gets released. And of course, it comes up with him, becoming bitter, because almost every single person that sees him is like, hey, I know you. You're the child killer. And even a mother is like, oh, here you are, just doing your job, just having your life. It's your fault. It's your fault that I don't have a son. The guys have the right to be angry, because the whole town is full of assholes. It's so much full of assholes that even high schoolers are able to bully this guy who is kind of like 2 feet taller than them. And by the way, that of course it's also reflected on the Strode family, because Laurie because even Laurie, when she's just minding her own business, someone comes and say, "This is your fault, Laurie. This is your fault. Look at this survivor who survived, and she lost her husband because you brought the boogeyman. It's not her fault. It's not like she just went to the maximum security prison and released Michael Myers. No. And besides, the angry Laurie wasn't even she didn't do almost anything in the last movie. She just was in the hospital dead. And the mob was another guy who had the bright idea to make a mob, and it was your idea to lynch that other clinically mental guy, and you guys are the one that lynched this innocent guy. So pretty much, this is what bugged me from this movie, because if you want me to feel bad about a town that they have kind of like the horror, they're kind of like being horrified of something like that. I get it. I get the idea. I get that you were trying to make a message about that. It takes kind of like a serial killer to hunt a town, and they make them irrational and have kind of like this mob mentality. I know that. I've been there. I've seen this in my country of origin. It's just that in this case, it took them kind of like 4 years. And what was Michael Myers doing during these 4 years? Recovering? Because honestly, they just wanted to they wanted to build, the last movie, they wanted to build up that there's something paranormal on him. I mean, because you wanted to give him kind of like a reason why he was freaking Tetsuo Shima in Halloween Kills. You wanted to give him kind of like a reason why he can resist all those blows, shots, slashes every time. But you're gonna get this answer in this movie? No, it doesn't. Maybe you're gonna put it metaphorically, but even as a metaphor, it kind of fails to see, because let's face it, even the strongest man in the universe has an Achilles heel, and every strong man can die if you slice their neck, where the veins are. But no, they don't do that. So honestly, yeah, I can't. Although, to be fair, I did kind of like the idea of having this man descending to, madness, because he's been pushed into a corner, even pushed to a corner by Laurie Strode herself, who she was actually kind of villainous in this one. I mean, it's understandable. It's understandable that she's paranoid because Michael Myers, but they painted her like she is. I mean, maybe it's flawed, yeah, but I feel sympathy for the poor guy, even if his action wasn't the correct one. I feel bad for him. He was kind of like sympathetic because of how a deadly accident can change your life for the worse in the eyes of people. And even when you're trying your best to, move on, no one moves on, because every single person in the world is gonna pinpoint you and treating you like shit. The funny thing also about this movie is that Allison, Laurie's granddaughter, she, how can I say? She actually is trying her best, to see kind of like a good side to this guy. But man, how can I say? She also has her problems. She actually had the right idea, in which I just want to get out of Haddonfield, because this is a shitty place, especially with these kind of people. and and of course, there's also a little bit that she didn't get a good promotion because because she works in a hospital. And the head doctor actually had the hots on one of the nurses that she's not very good at it. Yeah, well, meat fodder, you can see for her. Oh, and by the way, I did mention a lot about Michael Myers, but honestly, this movie could have been a little bit like the new Jason Friday the 13th, the New Blood, because Michael Myers, he just kind of barely appears. He just stuck in the sewers, and he sees Corey, and apparently you need evil in your eyes in order in order for him to let you go. And technically, Corey kind of becomes Michael Myers' Michael Myers becomes this kid's mentor, but kind of like an eerie one. I wish that couldn't. Honestly, I would mix on this scene. I mixed that well, that is indeed another passing of the torch. I kind of understand they wanted to play out Friday the 13th, The New Blood. But it's almost like this movie didn't even need Michael Myers in this one, and this also comes up that it comes up at the end, in which you saw in the trailer there's gonna be a battle between Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, and guess what? There is, and for the benefit of the doubt, it was well shot, it was well done, but. You had to deal with that other story that kind of feels like a little bit out of place. But either way, I didn't like about kind of like the treatment that we have to save a town of assholes, and making kind of like the guy who suffered the most the villain. He became the villain because these guys are the ones that push him through a corner. And even when he wasn't exactly, being hesitant on becoming the killer, they see him that, he has evil in his eye and everything. He has evil in his eye because they push him to the limit. How many times do I have to say that? Jeez. I'm a little bit calming myself because the more I think about how this movie went through in that direction, it kind of makes me feel how mean-spirited this movie is, and it's almost like it wants to defend a town full of bullies and kind of like a little. It kind of felt like the Michael Myers thing and the Laurie Strode thing really went a little bit kind of like in last minute or so. I think the movie could have worked better if when it meant Halloween End, it could have taken place in the exact same night, just like the other ones. But now they decided like, okay, 4 years later, again happens again. And yeah, I think now that I think about it, maybe the biggest reason why they made these almost the entire town of Haddonfield unlikable is mostly because you're there for the spectacle of seeing people getting chopped. I will say that there's only one or two creative skills. And probably I will say that the most gruesome of them all, it involves that DJ getting his tongue chop. That's pretty much the thing I could say. But overall, I think that I might recommend this movie. You are very into Halloween and you are really forgiven because you're gonna say that, hey, it's just a slasher film. I mean, yeah, it does that. It does its job as a slasher film. Although I can't see why it can divide the taste of many fans. In my opinion, I was just like, this is so dumb. Actually, Now I can see when I went to see Terrifier 2, one guy just got out of the movie theater just screaming, "This is so dumb! This is so dumb! This is so dumb!" I kind of beginning to see what he meant by that. But personally, I found that it's a little bit mean-spirited on the treatment of this guy. It is an interesting character study about how sometimes how can I say it, when people kind of need to villainize someone in order to try to forget another thing. And yeah, that I will think that is what the movie was trying to do, is the villainification of people. In which it goes to kind of like extremes in which they begin to blame this guy for an accident that of course had a big toll. Although let's face it, the kid wasn't exactly that likable, I'll say. But either way, I just give it kind of like a half recommendation. If you want to kind of like put a close to the Laurie Strode Halloween thing, and please, I just hope that in the next if there are other Halloween movies, in which of course it doesn't involve Laurie Strode, let's hope that it's not exactly with Michael Myers, considering how the movie ended, of course. And I hope we get movies that is called Halloween, and this time they put what they originally intended to do, like Season of the Witch, in which is Halloween, because there's limitless possibility with a name like Halloween. Like, for example, this anthology movie called Tales of Halloween. If we can turn Halloween into, if we make it back as it wanted to be, like an anthology, doesn't necessarily need Michael Myers, I'm actually open to that. So in the meantime, it is finally my time to put an end to this Halloween franchise. At the moment.